Pakistan's army chief praises Egypt's role in promoting regional stability and advancing peace in Gaza. Egypt sets up logistics hubs to coordinate and sustain humanitarian aid deliveries to Gaza. And Egypt's foreign minister and his Turkish counterpart discuss Gaza ceasefire and agree to boost Egypt-Turkey cooperation.
كل الشكر لمصر العظيمة، مصر الشعب المصري العظيم الذي نحبه من أعماق قلوبنا نحن كفلسطينيين.
التقدير الكبير لدور مصر في منع أخطر مؤامرة كانت تجري، وهي التطهير العرقي والتهجير للشعب الفلسطيني.
موقف مصر الذي منع التهجير، موقف مصر الذي ساند القضية على مدار عشرات السنوات الماضية.
بات من الضروري والملح الآن التحرك وطنيا وفلسطينيا وبدعم من الشقيقة مصر من أجل بلسمة جراح شعبنا.
لا يفوتني في هذه اللحظة أن أشكر إخواننا في مصر على الجهود الكبيرة التي بذلت.
ما كنا نسعى إليه على امتداد الشهور الماضية بمساهمة نشطة من قبل إخوتنا في جمهورية مصر العربية كان يهدف إلى إقرار وإحلال وقف إطلاق النار.
لطالما احتضنت القاهرة اللقاءات الوطنية بشكل دائم.
Live from Cairo, you're watching Qnews with our latest news for Egypt. I'm Mark Summers. Egypt's President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi received Pakistan's Army Chief General Asim Munir at Al-Ittihadiyya Palace. Munir praised Egypt's pivotal regional role and Gaza's efforts as both sides vowed deeper cooperation on stability, counter-terrorism and development. At the palace, President al-Sisi highlighted the growing momentum in Egyptian and Pakistani ties and Egypt's commitment to deepen cooperation for mutual development. General Munir conveyed the Prime Minister's greetings and lauded Egypt's leadership at the Sharm el-Sheikh Peace Summit and its push to end Gaza's humanitarian catastrophe. The talks covered regional stability, counter-terrorism coordination and mechanisms to face shared challenges alongside plans to broaden political, security and economic collaboration. Both sides underscored continued alignment on de-escalation efforts and humanitarian access in Gaza, with Cairo's mediation and relief operations cited as central to easing civilian suffering and advancing a durable calm. Egypt has established an integrated network of logistics centres to receive, store and package humanitarian aid bound for Gaza, with 7 major hubs preparing and dispatching convoys under a plan to keep assistance flowing safely and continuously. Cairo says the new logistics network is designed to streamline the full aid cycle from intake and warehousing to packaging and loadout before convoys move to Gaza. 7 primary hubs are now dedicated to preparing and directing shipments under a centralized plan that prioritizes safety, steady through output, and predictable scheduling. Officials say the systems standardizes receipt and packing processes to reduce delays, maintain cold chain and critical care supplies, and support sustained convoy operations. The approach is intended to stabilize flows over time and ensure aid reaches medical facilities and communities as needs persist. That comes as 2,062 aid trucks have entered the Gaza Strip between October 18th and the 23rd. Egyptian Foreign Minister Badr Abdel-Ati and his Turkish counterpart, the Foreign Minister Hakan Fidan, discussed Sharm el-Sheikh summit outcomes and the Gaza ceasefire, urging full implementation and unhindered aid, and agreed to deepen Egypt-Turkey cooperation ahead of November's Cairo Reconstruction Conference. In a phone call, both foreign ministers reviewed the Sharm el-Sheikh Peace Summit outcomes and the Gaza ceasefire agreement, stressing strict implementation and sustained humanitarian access. They further discussed Turkey's participation in November's Cairo conference on Gaza reconstruction and recovery and agreed to build on positive momentum in bilateral ties. Both sides highlighted plans to expand cooperation across political, economic and investment fields and exchange views on regional developments of mutual concern. The ministers said coordination will continue in the run-up to the Cairo meeting to align priorities for reconstruction, relief and longer-term stability. The Egyptian Foreign Minister also spoke with the Dutch Foreign Minister on Gaza and regional stability, reviewing Sharm el-Sheikh summit outcomes as The Hague praised Egypt's pivotal role in brokering the Gaza ceasefire under President Trump's initiative and aligning for Cairo's conference in November. In their call, Abdel Ati and his Dutch counterpart reviewed the Sharm el-Sheikh Peace Summit outcomes and recent steps to sustain the Gaza ceasefire. The Dutch side praised Egypt's leadership in securing the deal under President Trump's initiative. Abdel Ati stressed full adherence to the agreement and unhindered humanitarian access as foundations for lasting calm. Both ministers discussed preparations for November's Cairo Reconstruction Conference, underscoring coordinated international support for recovery relief and essential servicing in Gaza. They agreed to maintain close consultation in the lead-up to the conference and to deepen cooperation on regional stability and humanitarian priorities. Egyptian Foreign Minister Badr Abdel Ati was meeting with Romania's Foreign Minister on the sidelines of the EU-Egypt summit in Brussels, stressing full implementation of the Sharm el-Sheikh ceasefire and discussing Gaza and preparations for the Cairo Reconstruction Conference. During their Brussels meeting, Abdel Ati underscored that fully honouring the Sharm el-Sheikh ceasefire is essential to stabilising Gaza and enabling sustained aid. The Romanian Foreign Minister praised Egypt's pivotal and regional role and reaffirmed support for joint stability efforts. Both sides reviewed preparations for the Cairo Reconstruction Conference and agreed to deepen coordination on humanitarian priorities. They also committed to strengthening bilateral cooperation across trade, investment, education and culture, with Abdel Ati expressing Cairo's aim to elevate ties to a comprehensive partnership. Officials said follow-up consultations will continue around conference timelines, sectoral projects and mechanisms to turn pledges into implementable programs. President el-Sisi met with Prime Minister Mustafa Madbouli and Tourism and Antiquities Minister Sharif Fathi to review final preparations for the Grand Egyptian Museum's opening ceremony, stressing seamless coordination, world-class presentation and tourism promotion. The presidential spokesperson, Ambassador Mohammed El-Shenawi, said the president reviewed the opening program, logistics and interagency coordination for the Grand Egyptian Museum ceremony, which will take place on November the 1st. The tourism minister outlined proposed segments and operational arrangements with relevant ministries and partners. President el-Sisi directed continued tight coordination to deliver an event befitting Egypt's stature and leadership in museums and global culture, boosting the country's tourism promotion. The meeting also discussed progress on projects around the museum precinct ahead of opening, alongside broader files related to the Tourism and Antiquities Ministry and ongoing plans to develop the sector. Follow-up meetings will track timelines, execution and international media readiness. Ukraine's ambassador to Cairo, Mykola Nahoyny, hailed the Grand Egyptian Museum as a landmark achievement reflecting President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi's long-term vision to preserve, study and share Egypt's heritage, congratulating Egypt ahead of the opening. In the remarks, the ambassador said the Grand Egyptian Museum showcases Egypt's forward-looking commitment to conservation and public access, strengthening national identity while enriching shared human culture. He called Egypt the cradle of civilization, noting the museum affirms its leadership in historical sciences, culture and inter-civilizational dialogue. He added the opening marks a new milestone that unites people around knowledge, tolerance and mutual respect, and predicted the museum will become a new symbol of Egypt's cultural wealth, an enduring source of pride and inspiration for current and future generations, and offered congratulations to Egypt's leadership and people ahead of the launch. Egypt's Prime Minister Mustafa Madbouli published a message ahead of the Grand Egyptian Museum's November 1st opening, calling the landmark a gift to the world, and saying Egypt is ready to welcome global leaders and guests for a ceremony reflecting the nation's stature. In a commentary carried by state media on Friday, Prime Minister Madbouli framed the Grand Egyptian Museum's launch as a new chapter for Egypt's cultural leadership. He said the museum, overlooking the Giza pyramids, will showcase a singular collection while telling the story of Egypt's will to deliver major national projects. Madbouli linked the opening to broader heritage momentum, citing recent world-class events and ongoing upgrades around the museum precinct. He urged sustained interagency support and coordination and public support as well to present an opening that boosts tourism and underscores Egypt's role in global culture. Egypt expects heads of state, senior dignitaries and influencers to attend, with special programming planned for the inauguration. Meanwhile, Egypt and Italy unveiled the Treasures of the Pharaohs exhibition in Rome, with Egypt's Tourism and Antiquities Minister Sharif Fathi and Italy's Culture Minister Gennaro Sangiuliano addressing a packed press conference at the Scuderia del Quirinale. After the presidential opening, Minister Fathi thanked President Sergio Mattarella and said hosting the show beside the Quirinale underscores Egypt's place in Italy's culture's heart. He called the display a boost to tourism, noting Italian arrivals could reach 1 million this year, and flagged preparations for the Grand Egyptian Museum's 1st of November opening. Officials announced deeper cultural cooperation, including reviving the original 1902 ventilation system at Cairo's Egyptian Museum. Curators said the narrative, inspired by ancient Roman writings on Egypt, offers an immersive journey through masterpieces. Italy's cultural minister hailed the exhibit during the country's cultural jubilee, as both sides framed it as a model of cultural diplomacy. Senior advisor to the United States President for Arab and African Affairs, Masad Boulos, has announced that the U.S. hosted quadrilateral meeting with participation from Egypt, Saudi Arabia and the UAE aims to advance peace efforts in Sudan. He noted that the discussions focused on securing an immediate humanitarian truce and achieving a lasting ceasefire. The parties also agreed to establish a joint committee to enhance coordination on urgent priorities, reaffirming their shared commitment to supporting Sudan's stability and promoting a sustainable path towards peace. Egypt's Drug Authority Chief, Dr. Ali El Ghamraoui, led Egypt's delegation to the ICMRA annual summit at the European Medicines Agency in Amsterdam, highlighting regulatory reliance, innovation and AI to strengthen trust in health systems. The ICMRA summit gathered global regulators to align on reliance pathways, scientific innovation and AI oversight. The doctor presented Egypt's integrated regulatory accreditation model from clinical trial protocol approval to post-marketing changes and Egypt's role in international cooperation. He noted Egypt joined in 2025 in June an African ML3 regulators MOU to build a continental reliance and information sharing network after becoming the first African authority at WHO ML3 for both medicines and vaccines. He reaffirmed Egypt's commitment to tighter coordination and robust governance to ensure safety, quality and efficacy across regional and global markets. Just before we go, let's recap the main headlines. Pakistan's army chief praises Egypt's role in promoting regional stability and advancing peace in Gaza. Egypt sets up logistics hubs to coordinate and sustain humanitarian aid deliveries to Gaza. And Egypt's foreign minister and his Turkish counterpart discussed Gaza ceasefire and agreed to boost Egypt-Turkey cooperation. And for more stories, you can go to our social media networks. The handle is @QNewsEGY. Thanks for watching.